Hi Poopsies. It's time to read chapters 9 and 10, the last two chapters of my book, Finding Your Alignment by Tony Bomboni, Kindle and paperback, links in the top of the description box below. Hope you enjoy. Chapter 9, Finding Purpose, page 99. The key difference that sets apart someone who is a sovereignty of their reality is their confidence in the divine plan. This person knows what they are here on earth to do and instills the utmost confident thoughts to themselves and people around them. These people have not forgotten why they came in the first place and are aware that everything they share has the power to spread through the vast universe. They realize that they are just people living through others by means of sharing, compassion, and love. There is an awareness of unlimited power that can be manifested anytime this person pleases. This person can be you if you take into consideration everything I have said thus far. There is no need to adjust your routine to the schedule of the perfect human being. In fact, this is often people's initial mistake. They will watch a video online or read through a motivational book and suddenly want to shift their time and energy to strictly abide by what the source of knowledge said. I have seen this mistake being made several times, and it makes people lose their authenticity. There's only that burning light within that you must seek for and listen to, simply that. It is highly unnecessary to change your entire lifestyle because a book told you to do so. Knowledge is there for people to absorb at the pace they please and to take what that person feels works best for them at a specific time. Since we are constantly evolutionary beings, eventually something recommended will no longer work for you, and you will move on to other suggestions. Follow the internal clock of your world, not the one of others, for the routine will only work for them at that time they chose to follow it. It is great to receive inspiration, however, you must stay in contact with your authenticity, otherwise it destroys the whole purpose of your journey. By doing so, you are instead following in the footsteps behind someone else's dream. It is important to customize what works best for you when you feel like working towards something. You will find that after a while of tailgating behind someone's dream, there will be a sense of a lack of fulfillment. The person you are following has accomplished their goals, and you are still finding yourself lost on the path of bumper to bumper, feeling stuck and trapped as if being in traffic. Eventually, you give up and move down side streets to get to your destination faster. This shortcut would be the right path, and is usually how humanity functions. The path of least resistance is typically the one meant for your higher plan. If something feels wrong or takes too long to accomplish, it is perhaps not meant to be your purpose for coming here. There is an aura of stubbornness which humans tend to acquire from childhood that sticks with them like super glue. When we want something bad enough, we will do anything to get it, regardless of the years of struggling to accomplish our desire. The opposition to this, however, is when God shows us an easier way, and we refuse to take that path. There may be some burning wish that you have, such as opening your first store. You may want a shop of your own. However, you failed to realize the opportunity you had 2 years ago when an investor offered you $100,000 to open your location of choice. You denied it, believing that a better offer would come, and you would much rather work harder than being offered a freebie. Time goes by, and your business never makes an appearance, and you have given up all hope. God offered you an easier path, a shortcut, and you purposely chose to ignore this manifestation, focusing only on your vision of how you wanted the business to open, not on the divine plan. Because you didn't let go of the stubbornness, the store never came to fruition, leaving you feeling helpless and lost. You ended up choosing a different path, meant for your purpose, and it led you to twists and turns of confusion and meaningless satisfactions. This is an example of how not being in the alignment of abundance of whatever you desire can turn out to be. Following the ego is the cause of even the largest of corporations to crumble into ashes, never to be heard of again. Some of the younger generation can become so distracted by what famous people are doing that they lose themselves in the process of their journey and want to abide by what a public figure is doing. If she is wearing that new makeup, then so must I, is the mindset of many. But what is it that you really want? Is it too much outside of what the personality is doing? Does it make you feel uncomfortable to be yourself and follow your own path, regardless of what others are doing with their lives? Ask yourself this often, and question everything you read and hear. Why is it that some people have easier lives than others? Are they learning anything through this easy life, or are they simply lost themselves? Are they accomplishing any form of learning with their time on earth, or are they meant to be here to teach others how not to be? The truth is, yes, some souls are incarnated here to wake up people up into what is right and wrong. The lazy celebrity who takes selfies all day has a purpose too, and whether they realize or not, are meant to be in this position to teach others about their own reality and to question it. We see certain people doing unusual things and having what appears to be odd behavior for a reason. If something is outside of our normal understanding, we typically question it. When someone makes us realize that our existence is a strange one, then that person has done their job of helping others wake up to what the world really is. It is quite difficult to explain. However, just know that some people are simply here to wake others up through triggering the major emotions. When someone frustrates us or makes us feel jealous of them, it should make us question why we feel this way. Once the triggering thought influences us enough to question ourselves, then that is when the influencer has fulfilled their purpose, because they came here to help people question themselves, whether they realize it or not. Oftentimes we really do not comprehend our abilities and how much of an impact we create amongst others. We make shifts daily without even beginning to grasp the tip of the wave of understanding of our existence. There will be days when you feel absolutely horrible, but are still making a shift in the alignment of other people. Shouldn't this make you feel at least a little bit better about being alive? The truth is that public personality is not worried about what people are thinking of them. They are living in the alignment of joy, matched to what their burning desire is. That creation of God was meant to be known well amongst many, so that they could spread their joy unto others. Instead of being so hateful to this person, spread kindness unto them, for we do not know what they had to go through and to understand their purpose. Perhaps they are not aware of what else to do with their life, and can only do as much as they're familiar with to try and make a change. Little does this public figure know, they are making an enormous ripple effect that influences young generations who are going to witness change like never. All that matters is what we spread, and that energy should be one of joy. When there is happiness, there's a sense of fulfillment. If you are full, you are happy. Emptiness is the equivalent of lack, which triggers the feelings of guilt and sadness. Why would it be purposeful for us to spread across these negative emotions when we could simply be happy for being alive and sharing funny moments with each other? Isn't that why we are here to begin with? Have we forgotten what it was like to laugh, smile, and play like the children we once were? There comes a point when enough anger will boil in your blood to where you will want to make an alteration in your reality. The angriness will arise from years of struggling to survive in this world through many different circumstances. This energy is good because it can propel you to channel your focus toward what you were meant to do instead. God wants us to be prosperous and fulfilled without the need to have endless amounts of money. We have the right to feel rich even if we are in poverty. Influence is not important if it is not meant to be in your path of learning. If you came here to learn about the importance of family and love, then why would you need an abundance of money to live your best life? The illusions need to be lifted so you can begin to see what is really meant for you through the powers of the God force. Spending time focusing on what you don't have is going back to creating energy of lack. Stop focusing on what you don't have, but instead on what you do. I have worked with someone who woke me up to this mantra, and it stuck with me ever since. I was collaborating with a young and bright individual who I felt drawn to share much of my experience of life with. After some time, this person stopped what I was saying to tell me that I needed to focus more on the good rather than the bad. Boy, did it feel like a cold slap in the face. I had assumed that all along I was helping inspire this youngling to grow, learn, and experience, but instead I was only bringing them down with my words. At least I assumed. I realized that there wouldn't be anything anyone could say that could cause this person to lower their vibration. As they were quite aware of their own purpose, they eventually ended up growing their business to an extremely successful one. Their confidence in the godlike plan has created the aura of joy and thus fulfillment in correlation to what their desires were. I realize now that I did not have to feel guilty for what I said, because I did not intend to go against their belief system to begin with. At the time, I wanted to help this person, but instead made them realize what humanity needed to work on, through the words I told. Through that, I realized the power of working on myself to equate to the higher vibrations of awareness, so that next time I communicate with someone, I am aware of the intent behind what is being said. Because I spent so much time focusing on the opposing forces of success, we grew apart and did not align any longer. We later came into contact again to apologize for any misunderstandings, but this soul has helped me realize much of what I needed to focus my energy on, and I learned the power of the intent of spreading joy. For what bad thoughts you focus on will inevitably come because you are planning for the failure and not the success. Of all the thoughts you could have, when you choose to think on the future of disaster and how you can plan around it, then it will simply come because you have prepared yourself for that circumstance to form. Now that I realize it, perhaps I was meant to spread my message onto the collaborator for them to shift into an understanding that they have had to learn something out of what I have said. Perhaps they saw something within me that bothered them so much that it pushed them to make a change for themselves. I know I have done this with many people, and it is perhaps one of my divine purposes. I feel compelled to reach out and help, even if I am looked at as the enemy. My intention is never to divert from anything but the highest good. However, if this knowledge is not within the listener's level of vibration, then my intent appears different in their perspective. Those who are not matched to similar frequencies will be like repelling magnets. Therefore, it is unwise to jump into marriage quickly, as these relationships often disperse before a couple can fully get to know one another. Vibrations can change in a matter of weeks, and if a partner doesn't realize that dark side within their loved one, it may cause issues down the line of the relationship. Everyone acts as a bottle of fine wine. Balanced ingredients, not too much of one flavor, and aged gracefully. One is to learn to appreciate and admire the science and nature of a human being's full capability, such as a delightful bottle of Chardonnay. Balance is of high importance as it shows integrity and character within yourself. For if you were to have no respect for your temple, there would be no harmony inside of you. The distractions of money, fame, and power consume the brain and cause disruptions of the balance system. Some wish to accomplish these things so badly that they are willing to differ away from other matters. This is often why an affluent CEO ends up in the emergency room with a heart attack. You hear stories of those who are so enthralled by their jobs that nothing else is going well in their lives. Marriages have failed, health has been destroyed, and their personality grows bitter with time. Never forget that you can only do so much until you begin to tip the scales of harmonious energy. When you realize you are spending too much time doing something, move on to the next category of life. If your job consumes more than 90% of your working day, perhaps it is best time to shift your focal point towards something more meaningful that will assist you in finding your purpose again. When you have too much of one thing, then you have nothing at all. A large quantity of anything is worth the equivalence of yesterday's trash when it doesn't feed into your unsatisfactory needs of joy. Please think to yourself, what is it that makes me feel unfulfilled? What is it about my daily life that is so bothersome? One thing I will say is that if it annoys you and feels like it is sucking the soul out of your body, then don't do it. Some things are just not worth their weight in gold. A valued life is a healthily balanced one, not one of stress and work 24/7. All of this may seem harsh, but I had to take out the big pointers at the very end. Hopefully I've been working up your adrenaline levels enough to get to this point of feeling a healthy dose of frustration. I want you to feel just enough to where it pushes you to do something about your current mode of living. You've picked up my book because you want to change, so I'm going to say what I must, unapologetically. Part of my plan was in fact to write a book. I have had dreams of it since a child, and have been hoping to spread what I have learned when I've accumulated enough that is worth sharing. I have spent too much time worrying about what other people were doing with their lives, and boring myself with unnecessary thoughts. I cannot count how many times I have told myself that I am bored. It drives me nuts to know that so much of my time could have been spent working on myself and my plan. Had I not encountered these moments, I wouldn't know the difference between being in alignment and not. If anything ever makes you feel overall bored, unhappy, and bothersome, then abandon that ship as soon as you are able to. Everything must occur gradually and within your feeling of inspiration. Otherwise, it goes against the purpose to begin with. Nothing should ever be rushed or feel rushed. But most important of all, just like my years of wasted time being bored, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I just had to say it once and for all. Anything we have ever experienced is created within ourselves. We have the unlimited capability of changing whatever we don't like. So why not start? Taking steps to make your change occur. Don't just sit around and do nothing about it. My mother always told me that her grandmother used to tell her, what can be done today shouldn't be left for tomorrow. Although she has passed long ago, her words resonate in my mind forever. At any moment I feel an ounce of boredom creeping in, I immediately jump out of my position of being and snap into action. If you are constantly complaining about your career, then change it. It is that simple. Who and what force is going to stop you from quitting when you are ready to? God is going to constantly support you in your decisions and is always with you as you are a part of His creation. That workplace is not going to halt you from success. You are. It is all in your head, and you need to realize the major impact you have accomplished before and will create again. Think back to a moment where people were stunned by something you did, good or bad. It doesn't matter what you did. What matters is the shock factor of what you have done. If what you did was so life-changing as to create a stimulus of wave activity within people, then you already know that you have the power to do this again with anything you plan to do. You remember the feelings of awe or embarrassment, depending on what you did. The stares upon your face were incredible, and you somehow felt stronger through this experience. If you don't remember exactly, that is all right, but there will be a thought reflected back to you when you least expect it, and you will think back to this reading. Don't be so preoccupied with what people will think of you once you're gone from your original routine, such as in the workplace. Focus only on the good that is to come for your bright future of bravery and accomplishment. Fear only holds you back, my fellow reader, and you already know this. It is knowledge held within your DNA. But you have just simply forgotten. You have perhaps overlooked what you came to begin with. There is nothing wrong with forgetting, as it is comparable to not studying for long periods of time. Our souls remember so clearly what our divinely guided plan is that they don't need to study upon what it is we came for. However, since we forget that moment we are born and live our lives for many years, it is inevitable that we eventually forget what source we come from. If you didn't study your notes for weeks and take the exam, you are bound to fail. Many of us feel like a failure because we have simply forgotten what our life is all about. I am here to tell you, it is all right. The day will come, if it hasn't already, where you will crave to remember again. You will have perhaps overthought of every possible scenario to conclude why you came to this planet. This will oppose the message of reasoning from coming through, so I advise simply releasing and letting it go. Wisdom cannot enter the mind when one is thinking with the ego in the way. It is the critical factor in determining what enters the subconscious and what doesn't. Once you set the nature of ego aside, brilliant opportunities for realization will arise. Simply being is not enough for many, and that is understandable. In reality, we are always faced with more to do than we feel manageable. The overwhelming possibilities of what could be and what is already there is endless, and definitely out of touch with our knowing. We're not meant to learn this yet. We are just meant to learn from the sources we have readily available for us. Finding purpose will come in due time. It will just take time. Time. Don't force yourself to find it, and it will fall onto your lap before you are even aware it came. Chapter 10. Ask yourself with open mind. Page 111. Last chapter. Change is the inevitable part of our biology. Whether agreed upon or not, we must change for us to evolve as a species. Even if the change is not to our liking, it must occur to transmute to a new person, the individual you would like to be. We form this transmutation on a cellular level most of the time. and we are not aware of this. If you have followed all the things said prior and took the time to build a habit of sticking to the advice faithfully, then you will notice a shift in how you feel. This is the transformation on an energetic level, which occurs to align you into your new self. After all the moments of failure, trying, and effort, you will have finally shifted to the new you, the higher you. This is done through changes in diet, routine, sleep patterns, and enveloping yourself even through the darkness. The dark nature I am speaking of is often experienced through moments of living through the unknown, feelings of helplessness, being lost, and being unable to discern your purpose. Are expressed frequently in the darkness of finding yourself. It must be felt and lived through, otherwise you wouldn't be able to learn the reason for your existence. If you were given an easy life with everything made clear, it would be quite a boring one, as mentioned earlier. You must live to learn, experience, and question your surroundings. Ask yourself why that tree is there. Ask someone how you make them feel. Be comfortable enough in your own skin to question the daily habits, routines, and structures of society that were engraved upon us since birth. Be accessible to making a slow change in how you eat and what you eat. Question where the food comes from. Ask about what ingredients are inside. With these slow and steady methods of questioning, change unavoidably befalls. We spend 1/3 of life asleep for a reason, so ensure that plenty is entering your temple of pure nature. I didn't realize how important rest and relaxation was until a healer told me that he has never seen someone with lower energy in his years. I went to someone who offered to give me a healing using different methods of work involving sage, crystals, and energy work through the chakras. I cried during the heart work as his hand was placed over my heart chakra. The sound of his beautiful singing and the vibration of energy channeled into my empty vessel of a body was so energizing I wanted to jump out of my skin. When the session was over, he sat down to take a good look at me from head to toe. He observed for an awkward 5 minutes and told me afterwards that my light inside was extremely dim and that a crown chakra channeling would suffice better next time around. Apparently I needed to walk on grass barefoot and wave a selenite wand over my body to rinse the negative energy from depleting my aura. If this stuff doesn't make sense, and if you are not familiar with spiritual practices, don't worry. The smallest step in going for a healing changed the way I live because I forgot the importance of connecting to source through nature. Every time I go outside, I make sure to touch a branch or a tree or caress the trunk's bark and embrace it. I ensure that I feel the loving energy of the trees, the warmth on my skin from the sunlight, and the breeze on my face. Through this mindfulness of understanding where you are and what is around you, the healing begins. We all have a light inside of us that needs to be replenished in a timely manner. Society has forgotten about the nature because they are so consumed by the updated technology and staying in their jobs that feed into their need to avoid change. We have gotten so uncomfortable in this unnecessary niche of existing that we have forgotten why we came. Have discernment, self-respect, and love for all, and all will go well. Your kinesthetic experience will begin to align into your thoughts as you consume only what is best for you. I wish you all the best in alignment of your highest self, for that is what you came here to learn. Be your best self and portray to others to help uplift and inspire them. Through this simple action, you will find purpose and help people seek it. Never stray away from your faith. It is the binder of all hope and unity. Look deeper within and spread the message of love and comprehension. Conquer your vision of the perfect world and don't ever let the dream die. You are fully capable of keeping things afloat, and I believe in you entirely. If you have read this far, then I believe you will do great things to help humankind. I pray that this helps many. I pray that you have received the right message in finding your alignment. Always and forever have an open heart and mind, and never ever give up, no matter what you are doing. God, the universe, the unity, the oneness of everything is always there within you, because you are a part of Him. Never forget this powerful attribute, and always shine your light, no matter what anyone says or does to you. No one can destroy your beam of pureness, as you are forever and always protected through the powers of knowledge. May this spread unto as many people possible. Thank you for reading my loving humans. Thank you for taking great care of your temple for the unity to heal himself. We must all work together and accomplish the highest vibrational alignment for everyone to elevate into the higher reaches of knowing and existing. By taking care of yourself today, you are helping in mending the ancient wounds of history, and it's demonstrating humanity's highest form. Let's set an example for all life in the universe and treat each other with the loving energy of white light that we all need. I trust and have faith that you will do your part, and I know you will find your reason for coming to this planet. With much kindness, compassion, and reaching out to others, you will do great wonders beyond any expectation or belief. That was the book. I just want to read the back. Tony Bomboni is a YouTube filmmaker and entrepreneur with years of knowledge in the metaphysical arts. His wisdom about numerous life topics was key to creating this book and enveloping a story which cannot be told in just one book. He is also a proud father of his two sons, Paco the Chihuahua and Poopsie the Cockatiel, as well as his online fan base of Poopsies he is so very proud of. A simple and basic step-by-step guide to self-discovery and feeling a new shift in life experience, which you may have never imagined before. Tony's path has taken him on a journey of finding his inner and genuine truth, which has led him to come up with numerous ideas for unfolding your enlightened destiny. This book is for anyone with an open mind willing to learn something about their existence with a fresh perspective